Hello and welcome to Optimize Your Career. We're welcoming you to this brand new program hosted by Ed Samuel. Good morning, everyone. This is Kim Kennedy. So glad that you can join us, and we're very excited to have Ed Samuel here. And with this being the start of this program, Ed is going to be sharing what it's about, a little bit about himself. And so I'm going to turn it over to him at this point. Ed, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. My name is, it's Ed Samuel, and I'm a career coach. I live in southern Chester County, and I've helped hundreds and hundreds of professionals over the years with their careers. Now, in today's program, I really wanted to give everyone an overview of what they can expect in the weeks and months ahead. But first, a little bit more about me, because I think it really matters in terms of the background of a career coach. The name of my firm, by the way, is called Sam Nova, S-A-M-N-O-V-A. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But from a career standpoint, I've spent about 28 years in corporate America. I worked for a company called Digital Equipment for about 20 years in a variety of roles. I worked as a general manager for the StrideRite Corporation. That's the shoe company. I worked as a global customer admin leader for an ERP firm called QAD, competitor of SAP. And that gave me a great exposure to a lot of the countries around the world. And I've also been a CFO, a vice president of operations for several new ventures for a company called Mead Westvago, a paper packaging company. I've been a financial advisor for UBS and a regional recruiting leader for a medical device company called W.L. Gore. And I'll explain again why that background is so important as a career coach. You know, I started my career a long time ago as an accounting clerk 3, making $3.63 an hour, a long time ago. And I played a lot of roles, and I worked my way up and went to school at night and got my degree. But I've played 3 primary roles, maybe 4: finance, accounting, human resources, customer service, sales, and operations. Well, maybe that's 5 roles. It becomes very important, again, as a career coach. I've also been a recruiter, both a contingency recruiter and a retained recruiter. I have extensive executive career coaching experience. In the last 5 years alone, I worked for an HR consulting firm right here in the Philadelphia area called CCI Consulting, one of the premier leaders and one of the largest independent HR consulting firms. Now, 15 years ago, when I left corporate America, I've decided to break out on my own. Started with recruiting. I loved it. I did quite well in recruiting. But I realized something was missing. 99% of the people I met, I couldn't help. Everyone comes to a recruiter. They apply for jobs, or they say, can you help me land that job? Or I've applied and I think I'm a fit. And unfortunately, most of the people, you have to basically say, thanks, we're going to keep your resume on file and we'll keep you in mind. And that's code language in recruiting, in that we'll probably never talk to you again ever in our lifetime. And it really bothered me. And because I thought those people were looking for hope, and not having someone to help them in some way, again, was gnawing at me. But as a recruiter, you also did a little bit of career coaching for candidates as well that you were representing. So career coaching was part of that recruiting experience. But I decided about 8 years ago to start my own career coaching firm called Sam Nova. And it was based on a premise that we can offer something to everybody who reaches out to us, some kind of value, whether linking up with me on LinkedIn, that social media platform, and my 17,000 plus connections. Maybe they need a copy of our Bill of Rights booklet, which quite honestly we do at cost. And it's a great set of tips, 11 pages to help somebody with their career. And it's nominal cost. Maybe it's reverse recruiting. And we'll talk more about reverse recruiting in the weeks ahead. Maybe it's help on their resume, and maybe it's career coaching, and much, much more. The other thing about our firm today is that 60% of our clients are from this region and about 40% are outside the region across the United States. So career coaching was something that was near and dear to me, to try to touch the lives of everybody who decides to reach out to us. And that's what kind of got me going and got our firm going, and this whole focus on career coaching. Now, One of the things that we do to optimize careers is we ask people who come and talk to us a set of questions. And these questions are really the essence of, do you need to optimize your career? So the first question that I would ask you is, do you feel stuck in your career? And if the answer is yes, chances are you need to spend some time with a career coach like myself or somebody on my team. And stuck could mean I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. It could be a whole host of things, but it's that gut feeling that says, are you really feeling good about where you're at? You might need to create your resume for the very first time. You might want to revamp your resume. You might want to get critical feedback on a resume that you just had redone. In other cases, there are a lot of people that reach out to us. They worked for a company for 25 years, and they haven't even touched their resume in 25 years. And the world's very different than 25 years ago when it comes to a resume. Now, you might be unemployed. And we talk to a lot of people who are unemployed, a lot of professionals who are unemployed for 3 months, 6 months, in some cases 2 years. And they need help in how to go about searching for a job because everything that they're doing is not working. Those are people who need to optimize their career. Another person is a person, and this happens a lot. These are people who apply for jobs all day long, all week long, and for months on end. Literally, I spoke to a person a few weeks ago. He spent an entire month applying for jobs and not one response from an employer, not one. And he was and he was losing hope. And he was introduced to us, and now we're kind of bringing that hope back in, and we're changing everything in terms of his approach. But not hearing back is a problem across the board that chances are you need some career coaching. Now, another question is, are you unhappy with your current job, firm, or boss? So what happens a lot is you might be in the right career, but you don't like the firm and you don't like the person you're working for. You can do something about that. You might like the firm you're working for, and you might even like your manager, but you don't like the career you're in because it's not leading you to the place that you really want to go. And in other cases, you might love your career. You might love the manager you work for, but you do not like the firm. In all three of these cases, there's things that you can do, actions you can take to optimize your career. One of the common questions that I get asked when I engage people is, Ed, I think I'm underemployed. We're going to help you answer that question on this program to find out, are you really underemployed? There are people who come out of college, 15 years later, they're working for a bank, let's just say, as an example. And within usually 2 minutes in talking to that person, I can realize that they are absolutely underemployed and they're being underpaid up to $10,000 to $15,000 a year. And they don't even know it. And if they do know it, they're scared. They don't know what to do. And a career coach can really help them. Another great example, recently, someone who comes out of the military with 10 years of experience, responsible for $1 billion worth of assets, platoons of people, 10 years career, and they come into private industry and they're making $20,000 less a year than their counterpart, and not really given the respect or understanding of what they were responsible for. And that transition from military into private sector, they really needed a career coach because they're grossly underpaid. Those are great people that we work with to really help them get to a better place. Another great example of being underemployed. We have other people too, where we have to ask the question, have you hit the ceiling at your current firm? So there are certain people that have reached out to us that we've worked with where they've worked for a company for quite some time, but now they've gotten to a point where the people above them are kind of locked in maybe for the next 20 years, 15 years. They're not going anywhere from a career standpoint. They need to make a decision. Are there other options in my life, in my career? Because I probably won't be making any other change long term here. And those are people that can optimize their career. There are some people who lose their job for a variety of reasons, or quit their job, or become sick and they go back to work, and they're in a life transition. And that life transition can be incredibly painful, can be incredibly soul-searching, and they want to explore options. So a great way to optimize their career at that point is to talk to a career coach. There are other people who they're at a point where their kids have grown, they've left, and now they're ready to leave Pennsylvania and move to Phoenix. How can you help a person pick up and move, whether it be an individual or husband and wife, to another part of the United States, not only physically move, but land interviews and land a job and get to a part of the country that they want to live in? That's something that a career coach can help them with to optimize their career. Do you need to build or expand your formal network? That comes up a lot, especially with people who have been in the jobs for a long time and they have no formal network. I remember when I left corporate America, my entire network was probably about 7 people in total. 7 people. I didn't even know what LinkedIn was at the time. 0 connections. Now I have 17,000 connections and a very large network. But at the time, I didn't know how to even build a formal network. Those are things that become very important if you want to optimize your career. If employment ended tomorrow for any one of you, are you ready to enter the job market? That's a great way to optimize your career is to ask yourself the question, if I got tapped on the shoulder this Friday and this was my last day of employment, am I ready to go gung-ho into the job market and land that next job? And for most of the time, you're going to hear the answer, no, because no one expects it. And I've had people that have been in jobs where I'm going to retire with this company, I'm going to retire with this company, and they get tapped on the shoulder. That's 2 weeks after I chatted with them for breakfast or for lunch, and they never saw it coming. Their resume is not done. They have no formal network. They don't know anything about the job market. They don't know what to do with their life. All these things could have been done 6 months, a year earlier. And in some cases, people have hired us to be a career coach with no threat, no understanding, no worry that their job is going to be downsized, but they just want to be ready. It's a great opportunity to optimize your career. You know, social media plays such a large role in the job market today. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, it all becomes enormous. For a lot of people, they might have a resume, but they have no understanding of LinkedIn. LinkedIn, the latest statistic that I read on LinkedIn is that 75% of all recruiters and hiring managers use LinkedIn as a way to hire people in the job market, especially on the professional level. And if you don't have a LinkedIn page, you are in a world of hurt because you're not going to be looked at. And just applying for a job is not going to be enough. Same thing with Twitter, same thing with Facebook. Will help you optimize your career by really having a professional LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook profile. Do you want validation of your current career? We've had situations recently where Fortune 250 C-level people have come to us and asked, Ed, you know what, I think I'm a CFO, I think I'm a COO. But I want to validate it. I want to make sure, is this the right direction for me? And these people are making a great deal of money, and they're still looking for validation. Is this the right approach? Is there anything else? Because I do not want to be in my 60s and find out, oh, darn, I should have done something differently. It's a great opportunity to validate your career direction. And in one example, a former COO for a $3 billion firm went through an assessment with us and decided not to continue making a great deal of money every year, decided to leave corporate America and start their own consulting practice and also do something that they love. It's an amazing thing to see when you see people at that level also challenging themselves. Some people are ready to retire. And if you're ready to retire, again, a great way to optimize that retirement experience is to hire a retirement coach. I just happen to be a certified retirement coach and have helped a lot of people get through that retirement stage. And we're going to have a program just on that in the months ahead. There's much more to retirement than meets the eye. And there's not a person I've spoken to that has gone through our retirement program that has not really raved about it in terms of challenging them with their thinking. Some people, they're doing everything right when it comes to the job market, but they need help on an interview. They don't know what to do. Or they're going to interviews and they're coming in second continuously. Or they're going to interviews and then they're never hearing anything back. That happens a lot. So preparing for interviews is something that we can help people with to optimize their career. You know, there's something that's referred to in the job market arena called the black hole. I don't know why they call it the black hole, but it's a hole, and you apply for a job, and then you never hear anything, and that's what's known as the infamous black hole. Sometimes you even interview on the phone, and then you never hear anything. We work with people to circumvent that black hole because, quite honestly, the recruiting model that exists today is not to benefit and champion the cause, really, of the people in search of a job. It's really much more to champion the process, the recruiting process, to keep costs down and to fill positions as quickly as possible. The other thing that we work with people on is that there's two types of job searches. There's a defensive job search and an offensive job search. We help people launch an offensive job search, something that says that, you have a lot more power, a lot more rights as a candidate than you think you might have. And that jobs that are posted on the internet, on the job boards that you apply for, that's a very small piece of what you can be doing. The much larger piece is going on the offense so that you're picking a company and you're networking yourself into that company and landing the job of your choosing, not just of a job that happens to pop up on the job board. Those are ways that we can optimize careers. Many times you might get a phone call from a recruiter and you're not sure what to do, how to respond to that recruiter. You don't know what to do, what to say, what to expect. We'll work with you and teach you exactly what to do with recruiters, whether they be a retained recruiter, contingency recruiter, whether they're a consulting recruiter. The good news is I've played all of those roles, so there's not too much that are going to run by you that I haven't seen or I haven't dealt with. You might need help negotiating a job offer. Everything's fine, but now you have a job offer and you're not sure what to do. That's a great way to optimize your career, is to get the very, very best job offer. And how you get a job offer, there's a strategy all in itself in terms of how to work through that. You might need an executive coach. You might even need someone who, Ed, I landed the job, but how do I get through that first 3 months with the firm? We can help you with that, because that's also optimizing your career. Getting the job is hard enough, but doing very well those first 90 days is imperative to the success of keeping that job. One of the things that we want to also help people with is, your personality. Where does that fit in a job interview? And how do you really optimize your personality going into an interview? Is it something that you even understand yourself? What are your strengths of your personality? What are the places where you're not as strong? And how can you take advantage of those strengths and leveraging those strengths in an interview? That's something you need to be able to do to optimize your career, because that's going to create a better impression of who you are, and thus you may be selected as the candidate. We also work with students that are in high school, students that are in college, and they are not sure of what they want to do for their college major, we'll spend time with those students and put them through a very rigorous assessment process to help them determine the best career choice based on their design, based on who they are, based on their passions, their interests, their skills, and their values, even at that young age, to help them select the best career focus and then back into the best college major. And the reason we do that is because 28% of college students will change their college major in year one. It's one of the reasons graduation takes 5.1 years, not 4 years. It's something that we want to help deter, and we want to keep those college costs down for those parents. The other thing that is fairly disheartening is that one study recently said that 7 years after graduating from college, 50% of those people that went to school for that particular college major are no longer in that major. Half of the reason is because they couldn't find a job in that major. And that's a problem all in itself that has to be dealt with. The other half is they never wanted to be that to begin with. They never wanted to go to school to that to begin with. So one of the ways you could optimize your career, even as a college student or a high school student, is to work with us to assess who you are, where you're going, as early as possible so you can optimize that career coming right out of school. I think the other thing that you can do is learn part-time income. There's going to corporate America is one plan. And I used to believe in that plan that, okay, all in corporate America. But now we're in a situation where I'm a big fan of people getting part-time income in addition to their corporate America jobs. And that's because in 2008, a lot of people were tapped on the shoulder unexpectedly. A lot of people lost their jobs. Companies like Merrill Lynch almost went out of business. And people did not have things to fall back on. So one of the things we'll talk about are those part-time income opportunities, whether it be a consulting practice or other type of practice. So,
Ed, I'm going to have to interrupt you. I think we might have to spill over into our next program. You've got a lot to share, and we don't want to cheat our listeners of any of this information. Before we close our program for today, would you share with them your website, and if they would like to talk to you about optimizing their career, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay. Our website is www.samnovainc.com. That's SAMNOVAINC.com. Please go to the website, and you can email me at esamuel@samnovainc.com. That's ESAMUEL at SAMNOVAINC.com. Or you can feel free to call our number at 610-274-8214. Leave us a message and we'll get back to you. I'm looking forward to kicking things off with the discussion of the most common mistakes on resumes to kick our series off next week. And I thank you so much for being with us this morning. We look forward to optimizing your career. God bless.
And folks, there was a lot of meat in this program. The podcast will be up shortly. If you go to the homepage of 1180wfyl.com and click on podcast at the top, and the program Optimize Your Career will be there. There'll be a tab for that. You can listen to it and listen to more of that. Ed, we're excited about the new program, Optimize Your Career. You've got a lot to share. We're looking forward to that in future programs. Thank you for being with us. And listeners, thank you for joining us. Make it an excellent day.